Got some technical difficulties here. I'm down to one monitor, so it's hard for me to see everything. GP, why didn't you save yesterday's live? It didn't save, huh? Did it not save? It saved, bro. It's right there. So, live from yesterday saved. So, what's going on, man? Gerald Peters. Whatever you think about, man, that's what comes about. I don't know how many of you were thinking about this. Shit, I've been praying for AT&T for a long time. Come on, man, get up. Move. There's a lot of shares in the world of AT&T. Does anybody want to go look and see how many there are? How many billions of shares of AT&T exist in this planet? So this morning we wake up and, I mean, this is a pretty widely owned stock, right? This stock has been shitty all my adult life. Every once in a while, you get a run. But I own a bunch of it. And the reason I own a bunch of it is a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, when I was a little kid like you, I bought thousands of dollars of AT&T. And I've just set it to drip. And to be honest, I've been in the red most of the time I think I've owned it. I bet it. 7.13 billion. Thank you, sir. 7.13 billion. That's why this stock cannot move a lot. That's this 8% move on a 71 million share count. That's pretty good. That's about as big as you're going to get out of this behemoth. This is like turning the Titanic, man. Best you're going to get. These big stocks like this with billions and billions of shares, it's tough. It's tough, man. You bought it at $40. You can smell newbie. Now, but don't worry about that, bro. That's just when everybody gets on the bus. You know what I mean? Meaning, and this is a hard concept to believe, but it's true. And I'm not saying in every situation, but you need to think about it in life. Let's say, like my man said there, you were kind of new to buying it here. Well, let me let you in on something. As you go forward in life for the next 20, 30 years, there's a possibility, like a bunch of times, you're going to get stocks that go down. And they're going to go below you what you paid for it. So you got to get used to it now, sweetheart. Like your assets will reprice at times. The house you bought, the car you bought, the Rolex watch you bought, the Gucci bag, all you girls with your bags, guys with their watches, that shit comes down in value, man. And then sometimes it goes up in value. Art, well, this thing here pays, I think, what is it at now? 6-7% dividend yield. That's after having cut it, man. We're at, I think, 6-7%. So earnings were pretty good. It popped, and now we see it moving. This is a stage 2 breakout, but this breakout came yesterday, right? This was our signal, if you understand how the money flow works. That is a stage 2. Price has moved above that green line. The green line is the center of everything. This line, this beautiful green line, is the center of it all, man. That's it. Everything revolves around that line. For me, and how I perceive and how I look. It's at 6.1%. Thank you, sir. 6.1%. Or 6.6. God damn, got dyslexia this morning. 6.6. Couple things going on here on this AT&T chart. And it's a shitty stock, okay? I own a bunch of it, by the way. Oh, shit. Stocks give up gains. S&P turns negative as treasury yields continue to climb. All right, man. So here we are, 1678. It was up as much as 10%. Now I want to bring there's a lot going on this chart, man. If you're a money flow what is it called? No. Why am I trying to say words I can't say? Physinado? Come on, man. I'm doing the best that Mesquite, Texas could produce, man. We had a limited budget, unlike you guys. We didn't have masseuses at school. So previous high, we saw price stop right at it, dude. Stopped right at it. There's a lot of money flow shit going on this chart, man. You see this gold line right here? That is the 200-day moving average. This is like a holy item. This is like this is really important in technical analysis. Technical analysis is what we're doing here. It's the readings, tea leaves, tarot cards of stocks, man. This line here that you see, this golden line, it's a golden line, as not a golden shower, a golden line. The 200-day moving average is a golden line which price is attracted to, gets stuck at. Not all the time, but a lot of times. And that's what, when you get into technical analysis, it's just like from my perspective, I'm looking for patterns that have happened before. Could I use those patterns of volatility to my advantage as a repeatable pattern? I call that a fractal pattern in the book. And so what I'm thinking is now price is changing directions, and this is what we saw right here, where price ripped above the 20-day moving average, the 5-day crossed, and it's breaking out. Now it can turn just like that. So you'll be like, man, I thought you said this was going up. It was, and it's going down. That's the market. So you got to get used to that. And but big move, holds it yesterday. We were talking about this in Discord. I'm like, man, look, a lot of stocks are holding their 20s. I got to play what is it is. Meaning the day that it's the bottom, it will be like this. Maybe this ain't the bottom. Maybe this pulls back. Maybe At&T gives up all of this juice, comes back down, gives it up, comes back down into here, and we're back into a stage 1. But right now, it's a stage 2 breakout. So if I'm looking at the money flow, we're not breaking down. It's not the best time for selling. Price isn't going down. Price is going up, right? We're over here. The fractal pattern's over here, meaning price hit an anchor point. It hit a bottom over here, like it came down, and it stopped. And on At&T, we saw it. We had a couple of them. Let's clean this up, man. A lot of money flow shit going on this chart. We also got a lot of what I call the bread and butter strategy, which is a slight variation on the money flow, but it uses this 200-day line here. I've almost got that paper that I'm going to release it and show you. And now At&T's making a run for that $18. That would be the previous high. The problem is price goes to a previous high, and then it stops. We saw it right there. So the next one up is where? Right here. And we saw it stop there a few times, right? So we have this box here of support and resistance. And it just so happens to coincide with the 200-day moving average. Amazing. Some Illuminati shit right there, man. Some Illuminati shit right there, man. Can you see that on YouTube, man? Thumbs up for the algorithm. Thank you, sir. God bless, Professor. Why don't you leave church online after lives anymore? Why don't you leave church online after lives anymore? I don't know what you mean by that, sir. Why don't you leave? I had some computer problems, so there were a few I didn't post. And then I had one the other day where I went back and listened. I sound like a lunatic. So At&T gave us our breakout right here, and we're going to check in on the SPY in just a second. And when we saw that, everything rolled over, right? So we can track the pivot point. That was the pivot point right there, meaning the lowest low was the other day, and it was very knowable. You're like, where's the bottom? Right there. How do you know? Next day it went up. So as of that day right there, that was the bottom. That's what you have. You got price right there, and you got price below it. And you're like, well, how do you know it's the bottom? Because it's the bottom until it goes up. What I'm looking for is a break right there, man. And that's where the momentum of price switches directions. It gets on the other side of this green line. When it's on this side, it tends to just go down, if you don't notice. See that? See how that's moving, right? And when it's on this side, it tends to keep doing that. And here's the thing we don't know, man. We don't know how long. We don't know how long, man. Now, you could combine this T reading tarot cards of charts. You could take this and you could lay it over intelligence and thought and logic and reason and reports and direction, and you could do that. And you could wait. And it turns here first, meaning CNBC reports after the fact. The market moves, they report. It's not the other way around, man. The market moves the news. Price is king. It's the arbitrator. They're just reacting. They're just reacting fast. Algorithmic computers are behind price. Even algos. Meaning price happens, then they move, they execute, they do things based on price. Based on price movement. And that's all the money flow is talking about, was when price is below the 20-day moving average, it's moving down. And when it's above it, it's moving up. And all that can do is just give us a sense of direction. You can be like, okay, this is what breakouts look like. So when one occurs, this is what I do. And you get this executable pattern of execution of seeing price, looking for a pattern, combining your intelligence that God gave you, your endurance, your ability to watch something and then execute on it with a plan. Like entry, target, stop. Here's why. Here's what I think. Go. That's how we want to think about all stocks. So one thing I do know, I would never buy this. This is not a buy signal at all. If you get one thing out of the class, that is never a buy signal. Big explosion up. Now, the buy signal was right here. It's always right there. Meaning it was right here. And then it wasn't. And it was right here. And then it wasn't. And we know, man, there's so much going on this chart. We could spend 10 hours on this chart right here. This sexy, sexy chart. At&T. There's so much going on right here as we look at this. But one thing you see how spread apart. Oh, back up, Gerald. Look, you see how spread apart that is? Whenever you see the moving averages like this is another just big picture tidbit. See that? You see what I mean? With the, man, I wish you could see what was in my head. My staff sucks. Let's see. When this came down, where do we expect it to stop? Where it stopped before. Right? It stopped there before over here. Now, these aren't perfect. This isn't science. This is like hand grenades, horseshoes, general direction. So what it really should be drawn is more like this, to be honest. I think if most people were being honest with themselves, it's more like this. It's a zone. And price comes in on that zone. And when it bounces, it establishes them. So we got a 2-point win here. And it holds for a minute, right? And then when it breaks, what do we expect? Go to the next one. So we would look for the next one, man. Where's the next one? You say, now hold on. Stay with me, man. Stay with me, man. You're watching this. down, down. Look at this. Look at these beautiful, look at that beautiful red dots right there. What side of the blue dots are they on? Stay with me, man. The red is over here. Where's the green? It's over there. So you don't even need to look at price. If you see a 5-day exponential moving average, these are exponential. The reason they're exponential is they move faster than simple. And so the green line is a simple moving average. It's different than an exponential. It's different. It's extremely different. It's adding extra value to the current day. And if you look at it, down, down, down. Everything is pointing down. Everything about this sucks. Price is on the completely the wrong side of the 5-day, 10, 20. And it can't go up until price is at least above the red and the reds fucking stop dropping. It's not even mathematical possibility because this is numbers, man. All this is on this graph is just numbers are being put it in. Every day you get a little piece of a fractal pattern. Every day they give you a market open here. Fractal is a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. Meaning we could, this is a scale, by the way. 20-day moving average measures 1 month of trading. One, not two, one. 1 month. This measures 2 weeks. This measures 1 week. And where price is in relation to 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, tells you where it wants to go, man. What direction it's in. And so bottoms look the same. Tops look the same. They look the same, man. May not be the top, the bottom, but the price point, because it's just math. Numbers change. Now, somehow, if I gave you what this was, it would affect what the chart looks like. So if I said to someone, they go, what is this? And I said, Amazon. They'd be like, oh, shit, that's probably a good deal. If I named something you never heard of, you'd be like, man, I wouldn't touch that. Just by knowing what we're looking at can filter our brain. How you treat an item based on its price in relation to this green line will change based on your familiarity with the thing. If you're a gold bug and this is gold, you see an opportunity. If you don't give a shit about gold, you're like, why would I buy that? It's going down. Two people look at the same thing and have different opinions. That's called markets. That's how that works, man. So some people might want to take the money and run here. So they start selling this. Other people are like, man, that's good. Maybe you bought some here, which I did, right around here. That's a stage one. You're nibbling. What? And then you're nibbling. And then what? Bam! Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Now I don't want to buy here. Why? Look at the RSI. So as we combine our tools, you got tools, right? You don't just jump in the fucking car. You're like, where's my phone? Where are my earbuds? Oh shit, I need my purse. Where's my Gucci? I need my Prada. Where's my stuff, man? Where's my $400 socks? And we go look for these things and we put them on to go. Same trading, man. We got things we're looking at, man. We can't just go out the door. Can't just turn on an E-Trade, start buying shit willy-nilly. It's not how you do it. You're not some animal. You're not completely out of control in every area. Not here. Here's one area you could be totally in control of. The only thing you really control is how much you lose, by the way. You don't know how much you're going to win because nobody knows where it's going. Let's see. So look at all we have going on this. Look at the RSI, man. Let's don't move any further. It's called Relative Strength Index. It's an oscillator. It oscillates. It measures velocity. It oscillates and it measures velocity. Do you know these words? The RSI is the Relative Strength Index. It measures the movement of price over a 14-day period and it calculates it and it plots it. This is all this is. This is all math. This is a simple math formula. Even stoners in the back, you can do this because they calculate it for you. All you got to do is learn to read it and look at it. Simple thing. Most of your friends have no idea what this is. This has no effect on their life. A lot of people have no idea what this is. But as a general rule, if you knew what this is and you didn't know anything else about stocks, and this is what you knew, somebody said, hey, is that expensive or cheap? And if every time that was red, you said, looks pretty cheap to me. And whenever it was green, you'd say, I don't know, man, looks kind of expensive to me. Look what you would randomly do a lot. You would randomly pick bottoms. Now you'd pick all the bottoms, by the way, and you would pick all the tops. Now all you got to do is narrow it down. You're like, what do you mean? Meaning you can pick all of them. You know, but wouldn't it be more effective to pick the right one? And you're like, yeah. A little skill there. There's things we could do. There's other things you can add. There's more tools, more information. You can take in fractal patterns faster. There's things you can do. And that's where you get into the little nuances, of where's price in relation to the numerical alignment, the order of moving averages, 5, 10, 20, man. So where are these pointed right now? Let's say you don't know anything. You're just looking at the At&T chart. And let's look, man. Zoom in. I don't even know why I do this on Instagram. Some days I don't know, man. Look at this. Look where it was. Look at the alignment now. Look at the 5, the 10, the 20. They've all crossed. They're now on the other side of the green line. And where's price? Way up here. Now, if you understand price movement, you understand you would never buy this. It's already broke out. And chances are, it's just going to run up like into this zone here. We know that. Following the fractal nature of price, we know it doesn't go up all the time and it doesn't go down all the time. It goes up, sideways, down, sideways, up, down, and people try to prescribe fucking sanity to that. They're like, oh, the market's crazy right now. It's like, really? Why? Well, they're trading it. They're supposed to. It's what it's called, a market. And so every day people get up. Every day. The day before you ever opened stocks, there were people here doing this. Like really, really doing it. Like when you didn't know shit from Shiola about stocks, there's people in here that already read 100 books, have traded 20,000 times. 20,000 trades. There may be people you're trading against. They've traded 20,000 times while you've been doing not trading. Right? This is the beautiful thing of time. Time amount times yield equals experience, man. So please tell us the names of the... Man, click the link, man. So at the core of the money flow is this RSI up here. All this is a little gauge, man. It just gauges. It doesn't know direction. Nobody does. It's a math formula that measures the movement of price. And as price stops moving, let's say price starts to go sideways. And it builds out sideways. And you're like, what do you mean, Gerald? Meaning it goes up, and then it comes down, and then it goes up, and then it comes down, and then it goes up, and then it comes down, right? And as it does that, you'll see the indicators. This is the RSI. You'll see them, man. What do? They just stop going up, man. They stop going up. Stops moving. But what we know, and what this thing is trying to alert you to, is extremes. So when it goes green, it means listen. Mathematically, doesn't spend a lot of time here, man. When it hits the green, it means it's overbought, meaning it tends to stop. It at least stops and digests the move. Starts to move. Often, digesting the move, it then rolls over. Okay? And what? Gets to the other side and does what? Stops. Price oscillating. It's the movement of price. And what I'm trying to do is catch price moving. So when I see this picture, I don't know what you see, I see a fractal pattern of price. Price is just data that's given to us every day in this ongoing feedback loop, man. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a simple process over and over again in an ongoing feedback loop, meaning data entry. The moment the market's closed, we go to the futures. The moment we go to the futures, they start trading in China. And it never stops, dude. No matter how bad your life is, they keep doing this shit. Every day, bond market wakes up. Every day, dividend stocks go on sale, start trading. Every day, momentum stocks, Bitcoin. All this shit's going to move, whether you get up and look at it or not. And when you're gone, they're going to get up and do it. Like, you know what that means? It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you, man. This stuff is bigger than you can even comprehend. There's so much money. The world's wealth is in this shit, man. It's so mind-boggling. People that don't get into the stock market in this day and age, dude, it's so fucking ridiculous that they would live that way and choose poverty, choose not to build wealth, choose not to learn these skills that were kept from the masses, man. In 1700, you had to be loaded to go, oh, I'm going to go down here, I'm going to invest in this, we're going to go to India, kick the shit out of some people, load up some tea, some sugar, we're going to bring it back, we're all going to get rich. And they do that, man. And that's how this shit started. And today you can do the same thing, man. There's people doing, they're like, what do you mean? It's like, bro, you never heard of Zim? What do you think Zim's doing? They're going over crazy ass places, loading up their boat, bringing in supplies, right? Isn't that what's happening? Let's pull this stock up. Oh man, it is going down too. This big move here, what? Recession fears, man. Price gets, I talk about that in the new book, The Two Selves. Price is a social agreement. They change it. It's changing all the time. What something is worth, man. Every day it changes. Based on fear and greed. Not logic, not earnings. Fear and greed, man. That's what moves markets. Once you understand fear and greed, then this shit all begins to make more sense. Indicators. And here's the thing, like, they're not perfect, man. They're not perfect at all. I mean, sometimes they'll be perfect. Just looking at this chart, what is this, Zim? Just looking at this one, is it perfect? No, look. Was that the bottom? Yeah. Could you account it? Yeah. So there's pivot point, 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and we're above the 5-day. I would say that's a buy. And I'd say right there, you're trying to build out the stage 1. So if I'm looking at this and I see price came down, hits an extreme RSI, right? Let's go to the money flow report, thepetersreport.com. It's not hard. Use your thumbs, type it. You come over there. Here's the indicators I use. But it's not just the indicators, it's why we're using them. What are we looking at, man? What are we looking at? Where'd Zim go? Now, here's the thing. We don't know how long this up moves last. You say, well, that wasn't much of an up move. I know. But it moved up. That's all I know to tell you. It went sideways. It then moved up. And then it went then it goes sideways. Right? And then it moved down. It moved way down. And then what? Started going sideways. Right? Which is what we're seeing over here. Breaking down, by the way. Jesus. So we're literally about to break support here. Come on, man. Don't do this to me, man. We'll see. All the other indicators are going down too. So what does that mean? It means it's going down, man. What could you do there? You could buy a put. You're like, what do you mean? Yeah, buy a put on your stock. You could own this stock and buy puts on it. What do you mean? Stock goes down, puts go up. You don't have to sell your stocks. You could just learn to short it. So you come over here. If you're worried, you're looking at the money flow. Anytime you get a rollover here, you can be like, man, I'm going to buy some protection. You go over there and you click the button. You click options. You go over to puts. And you're looking at them. And you're like, how far out? And you're like, well, let's see. A lot of times these stages, it'll break. It'll go down for a while. So you come over here. You're like, man, it's breaking down. I don't know, let's go out 2 or 3 months, right? And at any point in the line down here on the way down, if you want, you could cover those puts. Take that little gain you had, flip it around and buy shares. I mean, you could, or buy something else, right? And so then you'd be learning the money flow to the downside. You're buying stocks to the upside. You're buying protection to the downside. Let's see. Zoom, setting up nicely. Yeah, let's see. Let me check on SPY, man. I got the feeling the world's falling apart. Ain't nothing worse than the world falling apart when you're on a live, man. Come on. We're still above the 20, so look at this. We have stocks that we're breaking out and starting to run. If this SPY cannot hold this 20, those stocks will come down too. This is the wind, meaning this is the composite average of the entire stock market. And when I look at this, what I see being built, and I don't know what other people see. I'm just going to tell you what, I wish you could see what I see. I wish you could be as crazy for feeling. So, look at this, man. So you see what I see. So as I back up and look at this, it may not play out that way, but I see sideways, and then the market went up. Not a very big sideways, but we had one, and then we've come down, and now we're going sideways, attempting to break out. That's what I see when I look at this. I see sideways, up, sideways, down, and now we're trying to go sideways. So as I look at the SPY, and then I look at the RSI, and I say, yeah, man, was the RSI right? Like, yeah. Was the 200-day moving average right? Yeah, that's another one of my targets too, right? So, I say if something's moving up from under the 200, when it hits the 200, it stops. That happens so much that I just make it, I just assume it's going to happen. And to add the RSI's extreme too, it's near impossible for it to keep going. And then it rolls. We roll over, man, right there. This day here said the party is over. Now what? Look at the moving averages. 5, 10, 20 on this side. So if you're looking at this, and this is always in real time, man. The reason I do it backwards is to show you how to construct it forwards. Come on, man. What in the world is happening? What is wrong in the world? Come on, Jesus, help me out here, man. Yeah, we really need this to hold, man. Like, we are sitting right on the freaking edge. Now, this is our pivot point, but to be honest, that's way down there. That's probably more like support, man. As a big one-off. This is the box. So, as far as I'm concerned, anywhere in here is stage 1 zone. Anywhere above there is stage 2 zone. Man, you see what I'm saying? Man, I forget I'm even on YouTube. Man, one day I'm gonna do some embarrassing shit. We're on YouTube. We got 70 people on YouTube, man. I appreciate you guys on YouTube. If you don't have the Money Flow book, man, get it. It's the only way I can drink beer today. I need to sell a book to buy a beer today, man. Just kidding there, but I do have it on sale. If you want it, text me. I'm only going to do it. If you go to the thing, it won't be there, but Sorry, I'm pausing as I'm looking at the SPY here. Now, let's take this fractal pattern down to the 1 hour for just a second. You see what we're seeing? Now, this is the 1 hour chart, man. Stay with me. Stay with me, man. We got our sideways, right? That was our stage one. Here's the breakout. This is on a 1 hour chart, okay? We're just backing it up. Meaning I wasn't trading it on here. I'm just backing it up. There's stage 3, right? The money flow, stage 3. What helps us identify stage 3? RSI indicator, relative strength index, the 5-day, the 10-day, the 20-day, MACD, stochastics, and where's price. All of those help us conclude. We got to find the anchor point. We need a couple days sideways, just like we do to the bottom to the top. The universe is bipolar. Love, hate, high tide, low tide. A 3 is a 1, a 2 is a 4. They're just going opposite directions. That's what you see. This is just the floating nature of price, man. There's your stage 4 decline. Got a little tricky in here, man. But that day there, I don't care what anybody says, that's a breakout, man. Bam! Now what? We're headed up. Where it should go is the previous high. Remember I said that zone in there? Damn! So, that's a zone, man. I mean, these boxes are just zones. You know, you can get particular and be like, well, I'm going to connect the bottoms from, you could do that. But it's just a zone. That's all it is. Support zones, resistance zones. And you may not see it, but as I'm looking on the 1 hour, I'm seeing the fractal pattern of the money flow. Price now moving sideways and appears to be rolling over, man. Look, all the momentum is to the downside. Shit. That's on a 1 hour. So if this doesn't hold, you can anticipate it comes back down, being this 357. That's on a 1 hour, right? So if we back it up, man, we don't need no 1 hour, man. What's up? Gee, I'm trying to work a job. I can't be looking at no 1 hour chart. Bam, we're back to the daily. And that takes us back down in here. And inside of a 1 hour chart, you completed the fractal pattern of the money flow. And yet on the daily, it's still a stage 1. And you're like, what do you mean? On a 1 hour, it went sideways, it went up, it hit a previous high. You look left, there's a previous high. It went sideways, it came down, then it went. And that fractal pattern plays out on all time frames. Some are better to see, easier to see than others. And it's not foolproof, but I think it gives me an edge. And that's what I'm trying to do, have an edge. I'm just trying to create a repeatable pattern, but based on the way that I look at stocks. So back to AT&T, and I'll wrap up, man. I think I'm going to go eat Chinese food, man. And then I'm going to hit the gym. So to wrap up on this AT&T chart, would I buy here? No. If the market gets whammed, this is coming back down. It does show you the power and the potential of growth stocks, or of dividend stocks and dividends in themselves. Dividends only go so low, okay? Dividend stocks only go so low. Unless they're in fear, they might not pay their dividend, or they might go bankrupt. That is very rare. In my 20 years of trading, I've had 3 stocks go straight to zero, bankrupt. I've had, a lot of bad trades, but I've also had a lot of great trades. And in my Allstate, AT&T, IBM, and Tesla. Oh, I would be remiss without. We'll stop on that, man. Grab the book today. I got a couple of trades I'll send you that I'm looking at. I'm working on. Let's look at Tesla. Oh my God. Do you see what I see? I mean, can we see the pattern? We see the break here. That was a false. I don't want to say false breakdown, but it's a very tiny money flow. And when I look back on this, I pretty much just absorb it. Does that make sense? I don't know a better word for this. Even though this would have been a stage 1, when I'm looking back at this, when it becomes so visually obvious of the pattern, then I tend to kind of, in my mind, I draw the charts out backwards. So when I walk up to a chart, first thing I do is I say, okay, what stage was this in? Well, this was obviously a stage 4. And I take it up and see, can I find a stage 3? And that's what I'm looking for. And if you notice, it never broke the previous high over here. And over there is where we had our RSI. I'm trying to connect. Man, we just went money flow 2.0, man. God damn, man. Illuminati, I'm going to be arrested. I went from one extreme RSI to the other, completing a money flow pattern. So when I look back on the charts, I can complete the pattern and go, okay, there was my 3. Price came down to 4, set up for the 1. And so by drawing it in past, and the government says past performance is not indicative of future results. And okay, well, what is? I don't know then. All I can go off was what happened last time. All I know is if I lift weights again this week, shit, I might get a little better than last week. I mean, I don't know. In my experience, past performance is highly indicative of future results, meaning your past performance. If your future results are absolutely indicative of your past performance, like, it's crazy to me, but not in stocks, apparently, not legally. Can we look at Bitcoin? Yeah, we'll look at Bitcoin. RSI we come down, and now what am I thinking this is? I'm looking for a stage 1, man. I got the RSI. Do I got a pivot point? I got a pivot point, but look, today, big deal here, dude. It was broken. If this can come and close up into here, I'm buying this all day. All day, every day. All day, every day. It's setting up, man. What you have going on is what you had over here. Look, came down, went to break, couldn't do it, came back down. It's testing that, right? And you built out that big stage 3. I got to assume that's the same thing we got going on over here, man. I'm doing the same thing on Tesla. Look, it started to cross and then it didn't. The MACD started to click and then it didn't. So where this closes is super important. It was about to come out and then it didn't. It's so on the edge. It's sitting right on the edge of all of those indicators going whoop the other way or whoop, perfect bottom chance to buy. We're headed up. So it's right there, man. So as I watch the money flow, I mean, that's just cool to me, man. I don't know, man. It's cool. To this day, 20 years later, now I didn't get it down to like I do today till about 10 years ago. And I have no delusion in where I think markets are going, except over my lifetime they go higher because they always have. I'm just not an idiot. I can look at the history and I can Google Great Depression. I can Google where was the Dow and put 7 years ago, and then I can put another 7 and then go back and look at it where my mom was, and then where was when my dad was born and my older brother. I can just keep putting it, and it just shows me. I can just go back further and further and further. So that gives me a baseline to operate off of, right? Look at this, man. So if this is forming here, stage 1 accumulation, but it could be breaking down. So I'm going to kind of wait and give it a minute, man. If it closes back up in near the top or in the box, I think you got to trade there, man. You got to buy it too, by the way. Somebody said the Bitcoin. I hadn't talked a lot about Bitcoin lately. We do have some interesting shit going on here with Bitcoin. Look at this support level. Wow. This has been a support level. October, September. Since the bottom in, what was it, in June? And you see the pattern, right? Sometimes the pattern's not pretty, right? So you see, I mean, you can see it on the TSI a little bit. I'm just talking about big picture here, okay? May not have lined up perfect on the, even when it's not money flowing, which I mean, the pattern's not, it's not these big extended waves. That makes trading easier when the down moves are bigger, when the up moves are bigger. If you're a short seller, you need big down moves. You don't want these little choppy ass down moves. And if you're swing trading, you don't want little choppy up moves, these little bitty 2-day burps and then it turns around. But you can get into times like that and the money flow patterns get super ugly. And then at some point I say, look, that's not money flowing, man. And you're like, what? When I'm like, look at the chart. It sucks. It's just straight down, or it may just be like a cardiac machine sideways, and it's like, man, there's no money flows in there. That's because price is so tight. There's just not much disagreement going on, but you can see it right inside of Bitcoin, and yet the overall pattern is to the downside, right? And we've talked about this at great length. I mean, I know I have on my subscription page on Instagram, but this money flow pattern, while when we look at it, looks static, I'll leave you with this, man. Somebody text me today, man. I like getting texts, man. That's how I meet a lot of people. Text. Then they trade stocks with me, and then we're friends forever. We're BFFs forever, man. Look, and that pattern, and then, like, it started to do it, right? Started to break out, and what would I have said? Previous high, this zone in here, somewhere in this zone in here is your target. Did we hit it? That wasn't much of a move, was it? I wouldn't have sold that. Anybody trades me, I would have been waiting for up in here if I was trading, because that would have finished the pattern, right? And it didn't happen. And it's fallen. Now, I'd probably still be in this trade because it never broke this anchor point. And we've just been drifting sideways ever since. Look how fucking sideways this is. Look at this, man. I mean, even Stochastics is sideways. They're like, fuck it. We give up. Rest in peace. There's like no buyers, no sellers. We're all in agreement. The price of Bitcoin is $19,444. That's going to be the price forever. No, I don't know. And at some point, it's going to break and run. Guardian Angel, I was told by my mother, Marie of the Bible, real name is Miriam, as Light Angel she. Okay. Yeah, I had to block that guy. I got a little deep, man. He hit me with some Bible stuff I never heard of. Hey, I appreciate everybody on here. I hope that helped, man. Don't buy AT&T, by the way. It was a big pop. This interesting what we got, man. We could spend forever. I could spend an hour on every chart, but there's a lot going on this Bitcoin chart. If you just look, I mean, it's actually pretty wild. I mean, look how straight that is. That is crazy. I mean, you can almost just draw a line through there for the last 6 months, and that's basically, and you're just buying. You know, you want to try to pick up these things. First thing I do when I look at a chart is I look for obvious patterns, even if they've only happened like 2 or 3 times, and then you go, well, when I look back, it doesn't do that. Fuck it, let's go with it. Like, patterns are very powerful, and that's what the money flow is, a fractal pattern. So when you look for patterns, and what I'm saying isn't like against the money flow. It's like you'll see patterns. Like maybe we could draw this line here, and this one's not doing it. But what if you come to this chart and you see, okay, it was there and it came down, and then it was there and it went up, and then it was there and it came down, and then it was there and it went up, and then it was there and it came down. What could happen? Like, you don't have to be a genius. That wouldn't make you some stock market guru. That would just make you called observant. You know? And that's a lot of what's going on with the market. A lot of the things about the market just are self-fulfilling. You know, buying, or selling may and go away. Or, there's all these things, and it's because that pattern happens a lot. The dogs of the Dow is just a pattern. It's a pattern. If you go read on it, you'll see and understand what that pattern is. This stuff is just a pattern. The money flow is a pattern. Stochastics is a pattern. MACD is a pattern. It's looking for a mathematical pattern, calculating it. And a lot of times it's deriving from either the velocity of movement or the crossover of movement or the convergence or divergence of movement. Meaning that's what a lot of these things are doing. And if it's a volume indicator, it's taking, other volume. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and yet we all run, all of these things are of past performance. Everyone's decision making is being regarded because of past performance. You're like, what do you mean? And you're like, why are you sad? Well, past performance, because I paid $20 and now it's $8, so I'm sad. And the government would say, well, past performance isn't indicative of future results. Don't worry about the past. You're like, what do you mean? Like, it doesn't make sense when you say it out loud, man. It's funny. 2018, we saw the same thing sideways for a few months, then lost 6K, or we saw 3K. I thought the bottom was in. So there you go. He's talking about a fractal pattern. Then we saw 50% to the downside in just a short weeks. It was wild. Yeah. So maybe we need to learn how to short Bitcoin too, right? How can we short Bitcoin? Anyway, man, I hope that helps. If you don't have the Money Flow ebook, hit me on the text and I will send you a code for it. I'm gonna knock it down a little bit today, 20%. So if you guys are trading with me, I appreciate you. I'll see you inside Discord. If anything I can do for you, just let me know, man.